some say the best division in boxing is the lightweight division, right? Has so many different superstars, so many big names. April 22nd, two of the biggest superstars in that lightweight division are gonna collide. Ryan Garcia takes on Gervonta Tank Davis.
I think we all love a division in boxing where there is uncertainty and where there's massive competition. So what's special about the lightweight division is just the number of guys that you feel like are really top fighters, elite fighters, and who you want to see face each other.
It reminds me when I was a kid looking at the welterweight and super welterweight division when you had Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard.
I think, wow, how blessed are all those guys to be in the hottest division, right? The lightweight division, it's like, wow. I'm talking about the guys that made it to the nationals, Devin, Shakur, Ryan, you know.
But the gatekeeper there is Ryan Garcia. There's no doubt about it. And it's interesting because Ryan Garcia hasn't won a world title, yet every world champion needs him in order to create mega fights. That's the bottom line. I mean, people might be laughing or hating me or whatever. It's the truth. He is the ticket seller. He is the guy who is gonna move the needle. He is the superstar in the making.
Of all the big names you could have called out, you picked this one. Why this one?
Because I think it's a respect to Tank. I think that he's one of the best fighters in the world. And since I was young, I've always had that fire as a competitor on fighting the best. And I think this is the fight that's gonna actually give me the crown. It's one thing to call yourself king. It's another one to actually have it.
He talked this way into this fight, and April the 22nd, he's gonna have to be able to show it.
This is the time where the words don't matter no more. The truth will come out.
All right, here we go. Simply the biggest fight of 2023, isn't it? And look, this was one, I have to be honest with you, I was nervous. I was starting to get nervous. Oscar Stanley hasn't received contracts. I was like, what's going on? But the fight is signed. We've had a couple of press conferences as well. We've seen them nose to nose. This is big. It feels big. You know, like big time boxing. This is it.
I just can't think, it's just this great, I can't think of a bigger fight. I literally, like, you know, boxing gets dragged through the mud continuously.
Yeah.
But then things like this happen and it all goes away.
Yeah, this is the Super Bowl for us, isn't it?
Because they're relatively at their peaks, that's why. They're both young, both, you know, looking good.
Unbeaten.
You know, it's just a great fight all on the board. They've even, like, it seems like it's been relatively easy as well. No, they've come at a weight that they're happy with. Everything about it's great. And stylistically, I can't see it being a bad fight.
Is it the biggest fight in the lightweight division? Because let's be honest, it's a division where the undisputed champ is Devin Haney. But I feel like this is the one that, if you could pick them, if you put all 4 or 5 guys on the table, this is the one I'm like, okay, give me Ryan versus Gervonta, because stylistically, so different.
Yeah, and from a selling point, I think it's probably the biggest one, I would say.
Yeah.
Gervonta's done quite well, you know, in his market, and so Ryan, of course, is a huge star as well. So I think it's the biggest one like that. Of course, you know, you could say Haney and Lomachenko might possibly be better fighters. You could argue that, but I think either way, get any of those in the mix to fight each other is what we want to see.
I remember discovering Ryan Garcia through social media, through Instagram. We have similar stories. You know, I grew up in East LA, humble beginnings. He grew up the same way, humble beginnings.
He said, Dad, Mom, look at Oscar Diaz. He just, yeah, we were excited. It's Oscar De La Hoya.
I remember sending him a DM, asking him to come to the office, and the rest is history.
I think that people don't understand that I'm a kid from Victorville, California. That's a very small town, and I just took advantage of what I had in front of me. You gotta know how to promote yourself through social media. That's just gonna be the new way of everything. And I think I did set a blueprint for how boxers should do it. You need to, post certain type of videos upcoming to the fight, after the fight, before the fight, certain things. I kind of have the same routine and game plan on how I post, and it's been working great. And I think that a lot of boxers are catching on now.
Ryan Garcia is a huge star. Does he have 7 million Instagram followers? But the big debate is he an internet star, or is he a pound for pound great fighter? If he's the real deal in the ring, that's a vicious combination, you know, and a combination to global success.
Ryan Garcia is an interesting one, isn't it? Because especially now with like the growth of YouTube boxing, I feel like some people, for some reason, put him in that. And he's not that, right? This is a guy that had a good amateur career that has also grown his social media following. I feel like we need to kind of make sure there's no grey area there.
Yeah, no, he's had a proper traditional route. You know, he's boxed as a young kid, we've gone through the US amateur scene, of course. You know, boxed Devin Haney a couple of times, or 3 times. I think they're 2-1 maybe to Haney. But so they've, you know, he's had experience at every level, you know, going through the ranks as an amateur, and then so he turned pro, like I would have, like any prospect would, of course. But he has that added, you know, thing with the massive social media following. So, you know, marketability-wise, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, he's exactly what you want now. So you feel like if you're looking for someone to sign up as Oscar De La Hoya did, this is perfect. I mean, he's a good-looking kid. He actually reminds me of a young Oscar. When you go and look at young Oscar videos, Mexican-American, Oscar would have been exactly like him, I think, in terms of the social media following. They actually remind me of each other.
I can't. Oscar was such a star when he turned professional. Yeah. It was unbelievable. It really was. He had the looks. You know, he said the right things, just like Ryan does as well. Ryan. You know, was probably a better boxer. Was a better boxer than Ryan. Maybe not that raw power that Ryan Garcia has, and that's the telling factor. Because ultimately, in this sport, as good as you are, knockouts sell you. That's it. All the other stuff's great. The packaging's fantastic, and having the skill and ability gets you so far. It takes you all the way. But to really, you know, put money in your pocket, it's the knockouts. That's where the big guys get all the big money. And what Ryan Garcia has is lots of faults. I would say that, but he has that power that disguises it all.
Sometimes it's easy to forget that Ryan Garcia had fantastic amateur success. Obviously, added to that the social media following, but you do need to prove yourself in the pro ranks. And he's certainly starting to do that.
When I smell blood, I smell blood. You know, but you got to be careful. But most of the times, I know when he's hurt, I'm gonna go get him and finish him. You know, I just have that instinct in me. You know, I catch him with a good shot. I don't want to let him recover so he could, you know, keep on fighting. I want to finish him right there. So when I seen him back up to the ropes, a little dazed, I went in there to, you know, just go kill him.
Weather that, another one, and a hook, and down he goes. This is over.
I feel like I learned from those 2 fights. I had to learn because, you know, bigger things will happen in the future, bigger fights.
Right hand and a hook, and Duno's hurt. Duno's hurt bad. Wow, it's over.
I'm happy and grateful for those fights because they've taught me that I need to stop messing around and get to it. My favorite knockout, let me think. It would have to be Francisco Fonseca because I was watching a fight, Sugar Ray Robinson versus, I don't know what the other guy's name was, but it was like titled the best perfect left hook. And I kind of got a few ideas from that, and then I go into the ring and then I do something similar to that where I catch the guy right in between his punch as he's throwing. So I just thought that was kind of cool that I watched it and then it happened like right when I watched it the same day. So that's probably my favorite knockout.
The world has been waiting. 2 kingdoms collide. Fire versus ice. 12 rounds for the WBC Interim Lightweight Championship of the World. Ryan Garcia.
That particular fight showed me what kind of heart Ryan Garcia has.
Can Ryan Garcia make quick work of Luke Campbell? Are we in for a long distance?
He showed a lot of grit. He showed a lot of, aside from talent and, you know, his conditioning was great, but he just showed that he belongs with the elite.
He's asking questions. He's asking, do I want to get up? Can I get up? It is over! Ryan King Ryan Garcia!
He was able to stop an Olympic gold medalist. Not anyone can do that. You know, not anyone can stop an Olympic gold medalist. So the fact that Ryan Garcia was dropped with a vicious left hook, I believe it was, and getting off the canvas was not easy. But he just showed what he's all about, and that's having a lot of heart.
My biggest takeaway was that I know how I would react if I got knocked down. And I definitely proved to myself and proved to many people that I have a lot of heart.
I always felt that Ryan Garcia had what it takes to become not only a contender, a champion, but I think he can be one of those fighters who you know, longevity is gonna be his best friend in this sport.
That was the test, wasn't it? Everyone was saying, okay, let's see how Ryan can adapt and challenge himself against a great boxer in Luke Campbell, and he did it, got off the canvas and won. Watching it, I know what you're like. You got your highly critical eye trained on Ryan Garcia. Give me the pros and cons of his performance in that one.
Well, I thought he was fantastic in the end, because I thought he was going to get beat.
So did I.
I thought, no, because the power was great, but he'd been well matched. Let's be honest, Ryan Garcia, he'd been well matched, but looked good in doing so, and looked like he had natural power. But I thought Luke Campbell's southpaw, great judgment of the distance, great timing. You know, that left hand on the centre of the guard was going to find a home with Ryan Garcia, who I have to say, well,
Ryan, it did
quite often. It did, but you know, he dropped him with a looping left hand actually. When Garcia went down, it was a looping left hand from Luke Campbell, which is a good shot for a southpaw. If you take your foot on the outside, you throw that looping shot, it goes over the right hand of an orthodox fighter, and you got nowhere to go. But and also Ryan Garcia doesn't bend his legs, which is the strangest thing, because he has so much power.
Where does it come from then?
It comes from your legs, power.
Yeah,
with everybody. You know when people say, you know, sit on your punches?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, you sit down to generate...
He doesn't, his legs are very straight when he throws his
Because all the biggest muscles are in the back of your body. Here, they're all... And you push off to generate that. I know this because I never did it. But I mean, but that's where it comes from. And then you turn from the core. All technique is a big thing. And speed, all those things help. But you have to generate the power from the bottom up. And he doesn't bend his legs. I mean, when he knocked on Fonseca with a left hook, his front foot was off the floor. His legs were straight, and he's leaning back on the back foot, and he's hit him like this with one foot off the floor. It's natural, just crazy power.
Does that surprise you though, considering that again we are talking about someone that had over 200 amateur fights? Because sometimes you watch him and you think this is a guy that's maybe had a few amateur fights and he's learning on the job. Yeah. This is a guy that's had a really highly decorated amateur career. But
I tell you what he does have, and I mentioned it about Luke Campbell, he has good judgment of distance. You can see what he does, even though he doesn't bend his legs, his feet are in and out. He looks quite, he keeps his feet flat on the floor. He's not on the balls of his feet very much, but he does slide in and out of distance. You see him throw 1-2, and he always slides back out. So he knows where he is all the time. And because he has so lightning speed, you can get away with things. You can make mistakes, but because you're so fast, his feet, he moves in and out quite fast, and his hands are so fast that he can throw that next shot. And like I say it all the time, and I continue to say it, when you have power, when someone feels it on their body, wherever it hits, they're well aware that they can't make a mistake. So you get away with errors, because if I hit you on the arm, I should counter that. But I won't counter it because I know how hard you can hit.
Yeah.
So I just wait a half a second, and that gives him a chance to escape.
And that's what Luke was doing, wasn't he? Luke got stopped to the body.
It's a great body shot, by the way. Again,
fantastic
judgment of distance, he's in the middle of the ring, and he's jumped in.
And he disguised it so well, because you thought it was a shot that was going to go up top.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of Canelo, obviously, when he was in that camp with Canelo, and then he went to the body.
He's a test for anyone.
It is a test. With boxing, highs and lows are intertwined in the sport. He got a fantastic win over Luke Campbell. That was a very big high. Moments after that fight, though, became a very big low. He spoke about his mental health, the depression. It was a difficult next 12 months for Ryan Garcia.
I thought I was going crazy. I was like, something's going on. And I think that relates with a lot of people that struggle with anxiety and mental health issues. Your first thoughts is like, I'm going crazy. Like, I'm losing it. Something's going on. You're having like panic attacks. I'm going to the doctor checking my heart every day.
You know, when a kid is 21 through 24, there's a lot of things that come their way. And when you start becoming successful, you're being pulled by sponsors, you're being pulled by managers, you're being pulled by other promoters. When you know you're already on contract. So you gotta be careful, because there's some people that are gonna pull from you and pull. And at that age, you're not gonna be able to handle it. You're overwhelmed with it. And when you're overwhelmed with something, you could break.
He talks about a story where he went into the gym to train and he just for whatever reason, couldn't handle it, broke down, cried, went outside and sat with his manager in the car and just had a heart-to-heart because he just realized the pressure was too much. It doesn't seem when you speak to him that was pressure coming from within boxing, that it seems like it was pressure in terms of personal stuff he had going on that had been building up essentially before the Luke Campbell fight and kind of crescendoed after it and just came to a point where he realized I can't do this.
When somebody's been doing boxing all their life and all of a sudden says, you know, I don't want to box anymore. When your own son tells you that he wants to drop everything, including his career, completely, that's when you start to wonder, wait a minute, is this what I think it is? He wants to quit? I was worried. I was thinking, well, okay, if you want to quit, I have to be your dad, I have to protect you.
But he had to deal with it, you know, and he had to really address his anxieties and what was really going on internally with him. And yes, it was a very dark place for a while, you know. As parents, of course, you're on your knees praying for your kids because you want them to be able to have faith.
He's open and honest. I think people, especially in the media, but fans in general relate to that. You don't have to be a perfect figure. You can be somebody who has struggles with mental health.
This is a very difficult sport we're in. You have to be 100% when you step inside the ring, and you know, a lot of people maybe didn't understand what he was doing, couldn't understand, you know, why doesn't Ryan just, you know, toughen up? Why doesn't he just bite the bullet? I commend him 1,000%. I think Ryan Garcia can make a lot of history. I think Ryan Garcia, now that he has his foundation laid down solid, he can do what he loves, and that's fight.
Ryan Garcia there speaking about the issues outside the ring, very open. A lot of boxers now are very open about their struggles outside the ring. What is it when a fighter has his biggest win, as that was for Ryan? We've seen it with other fighters as well. You think of Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko. What is it when you're on that high, but still there's something missing, you're searching for something else? Why does that happen?
It's like, most people, it's to win a world title, for example. So your whole journey, your focus is that. So you have a goal, and it's a huge goal, and it's your only goal, and it's all encompassing. So once you get there, it's great. It's the biggest, best feeling in your life. It can be the biggest anticlimax as well. It sounds the weirdest thing because you're almost expecting, where's the fireworks? Where's the marching bands? I don't know what you're expecting, but it's great. It's the best thing ever to happen to you. But then it's almost like I've done it.
Yeah. All the pressure leading up to that moment.
No, great fighters just automatically go,
Next challenge.
Yeah, it's unify or move up or challenge it, or where's the next test? I'm looking for the next test. Others, we just go, I've done it. And then you sort of, you know, your ambition wanes a little bit, and that's going to happen. And for others, sometimes it can be a real like, biggest win. The euphoria of it all sometimes can be too much, and it can smother you. And then there's a quietness after, and that quietness is where the trouble happens for anyone, of course.
In the lead up to that fight, obviously it was with the Canelo camp, right? And it seemed like a very perfect camp for him. Eddie Reynoso, Canelo, the pound for pound king. Others were in there as well, Julio Cesar Martinez. He decided to leave that camp and go and search for his former trainer, Joe Goosen. And so far, so good under Joe, right? 2 big wins.
I just think there's a bit more of a maturity about him now than I saw previously. Maybe because he has gone through those struggles outside the ring. And also, he's gone back to a guy who he knows, who he trusts. And that's important. And sometimes a different voice telling you the same thing can reinvent you a little bit. And I just feel he looks, to me though, I think maturity, life that he's experienced, he's gone through some trials and tribulations, and I think that's steeled him up, and he looks a bit more of a mature fighter.
Play this out for me. In terms of, you put on your Gervonta Davis hat first. If you're Gervonta and you're having to fight Ryan, we know what Ryan does well, right? The left hook, we know the speed, hand and feet are good. What does Gervonta have to do to beat Ryan?
Well, you've got to, I think, being the shorter fighter who also has very fast feet, very fast hands, and tremendous power, is putting a panic. You got to make Ryan Garcia, who really hasn't had anyone make him panic. You got dropped.
That fear factor, right?
Yeah, you got to put it on him early. So I know that Gervonta Davis is not the fastest of starters because he believes in himself. He knows he's vicious. Let's be honest, he's vicious.
Mini Mike Tyson.
Oh, mate. But he can box, and he has a boxing brain. But he's happy to let you work away and set you up. He's happy to let you work. He doesn't worry about it because he thinks you keep making mistakes. You've seen against Leo Santa Cruz with one of the best uppercuts I've ever seen when he had him on the ropes. But Santa Cruz was having success.
Can he afford to give those rounds away though? Well, like, against Santa Cruz, you're right. Even against Barrios, he's almost giving rounds away because he knows he's going to get to you. Can he afford to do that against Ryan?
Well, possibly, because it's worked for him so far. I think what he is, Garcia hits a lot harder than those, you would feel, or on paper certainly. So you tend to think, will he be able to take those shots? And how will he cope with the hand speed of Ryan Garcia? Because it's okay saying, I can see those shots, I can block it. But what if you don't see those shots? What if Garcia fakes the jab and comes in with the left hook?
It's the shot you don't see.
Or fakes the body shot and comes in with the left over the top, or the other way around. How does that work? The fact that Gervonta Davis is shorter and he'll get lower.
So he does bend his knees.
Yeah, he does bend. He gets power, or you should get power. But he'll get lower, and that's going to make it a harder target for Garcia. He's punching down affects your accuracy, and that's an issue. When you don't bend your legs, it's even worse again. So Gervonta got to get close. Now he closes the distance very quickly, Gervonta Davis, and he moves around the target very well, and that's where Garcia is going to struggle. Because if he gets backed up to the rope, and he's looking to fire off with a sharp right hand or a quick left hook, Davis won't be in front of him. Davis is going to come in really fast, going to throw that upward jab really quick, go down to the body, then he's going to spin around the target very well. And then he's going to work away and he's going to rip through the middle. And I don't know how Garcia will cope with that. We haven't seen him cope with that sort of intensity of ferociousness that he'll have if he gets backed up. So for me, for Garcia, it's that jab, that fast that jab is. Sometimes he throws that fast jab, it's it's a beautiful jab. Sometimes because he tries to get too much speed in it, it ends up being like a half a jab twice.
Yeah.
So that's no good, because if he does a half a jab twice,
Gervonta's going to get underneath that easily.
Well, he'll come with it. He'll come to it. Boom, boom. And then obviously he makes that half a jab twice even shorter. He'll just close the gap. He'll follow it in, and you can't extend with it then the second time around. Then he will get low off the second one then, because he's in. He follow you back in with the jab. He made it work. So you got to make sure that jab. Again, it's a problem with the feet. He does slide in and out with the feet quite well, Garcia. So when he throws that jab, the front foot got to go with the left hand, and he's got to get the speed in unison with his hands and feet. So when he does throw that with speed, he steps in, steps out. So if he can hit Gervonta Davis with it, he hits him with it. Not just speed, he makes him feel it. And then if you can just stun him, if you can stun Davis, just momentarily stun him, then you can flick that left hook over the top. Then you can find that lovely right hand that Garcia has.
You get me excited for this one now.
You can do that, but you
I like the way you've sold me how Ryan can win. You sold me how Gervonta can win as well.
Yeah, but there's so many things you got to get right, and you make the favourite the guy who has been able to do that in other fights.
Yeah.
So who you make the favourite is your opinion, but I think you make the favourite I make the favourite off that basis. Who's shown they can do that in other fights. And not just going through their repertoire of ability.
We wanted it, we've got it right. We wanted to see a couple of the lightweights get in the ring at their peak, not when they're older, not when they've lost a couple of defeats, right now at their peak when both of them have 0 losses on their resume. And we're going to get it, April 22nd, live on DAZN pay-per-view. We get to see Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Who really is the king of the lightweight division? We might find out for you midnight, April 22nd.